United States. They eventually built up a picture which has now made this one of the major controversies in the United States, which, with enough years having passed, enough journalists having caught up with the story, President Bush gets regularly hassled about this. It's been looked at by the Congress and Senate. They're what's called rendition flights, which is where the United States was requesting its allies in the Philippines or in Pakistan or somewhere in Syria or somewhere, they're saying, we want these people here, we believe they're suspects, we don't want to have to go through the courts, we haven't got the legal means to arrest them, can we grab them? And the local security services were cooperating with those people being grabbed off the streets, driven out to an airport, bundled onto one of these CIA planes, and ending up inside a cage in Afghanistan or somewhere, being interrogated by the US forces. Or, in worst cases, being sent off, as you probably heard, to third countries where they could be tortured because they were outside the United States system. So that's an example of what investigative journalism is about. It's about people who are curious enough and nosy enough and have the time, which this guy did, to dig into those things which would otherwise remain completely secret. And we have exactly the same kind of issues that arise in New Zealand. And for example, about that subject of Afghanistan. When New Zealanders went off to fight in Afghanistan in 2001, after the September 11 attacks in the United States, it was our biggest deployment of military overseas to fight and kill people since the Vietnam War. And how much was New Zealand told about that deployment? Well, there's still absolutely nothing. In the first months, the government didn't even say they'd been sent, and they denied rumours and they refused to comment. When the news was leaked by the New Zealand government before a trip that Helen Clark did to Washington in March of 2002, when they wanted the kudos for being part of the war in Afghanistan, they then conceded they were there, but they would say nothing about what they were doing. And that's again an example of where daily reporting just won't do the job, because we've had a series of news stories about Afghanistan in New Zealand, but every single one of them has been organised by the Defence Public Relations section. I know them very well, and their job, there's a large number of them, there's more of them than there are defence reporters in New Zealand. Their job is to produce good news stories about what New Zealand's doing and to make sure that nothing that they want to keep secret comes out. Killing, fighting, capturing people and handing them across into the US interrogation centres and so on. We know nothing about that from official sources. And so that's why, in that particular case, I made it my job to dig into it, and I interviewed people who had been there, and I found people inside Defence who would leak me internal papers about what was going on. And it's only in that way, in those kind of unofficial digging behind the newsways, that anyone's got a chance to find out about that. And I should add, the reason I was able to do that was because there were people who had brothers who'd gone there or people they knew. And I'm still working on this subject, and if there's anyone in this room who's in that position, I'll be very pleased to talk to you afterwards, because that's the way it works. Another example, more topical example of investigative journalism, which is with my work, was that a few years ago I decided that I would like to investigate the National Party. And the thing that prompted me to do this was something that most of you will remember, which was that Don Brash gave that historically very important speech attacking the idea of Maori privilege in New Zealand. And because it's a few years ago, and the heat's gone out of it, we can forget how powerful and also how damaging that time was. That put down a hell of a lot of people, it stirred up the country, and what was it based on? There were some people who said that he was being just trying to play the race card and get votes for his new leadership of the National Party. And he protested, and other people came in on his side saying, no, these were serious issues, and we had a problem in New Zealand that was going to cause long-term divisions in our society if we continued with those special privileges for Maori. No, which one was true? And that seemed to me to be a big enough question, an important enough question to be worth digging into. Reason being that what can the daily media give us? They can give us the people who say one thing and the people who say the other. But it's actually the normal daily journalists don't have the time and the resources to find out who's actually telling the truth. And so that was what spurred me to look into the National Party. And the way this kind of work goes is that probably the key ingredient of it, which makes it different from daily journalism, is the investment of time. That there is no substitute for this. How does someone like me find high up central figures in the National Party who want to spill the beans on their own party? You can't just pick up the phone and do it. And in fact, it took over a year after that